Buongiorno!
Quanto siete belli oggi!
Welcome, everybody. How amazing you are today. We missed you yesterday, but we know we had a fantastic journey. We're really happy with the day you had yesterday. So now we're going to look forward to the meeting with Pope Francis and the moment of our pact. Welcome, everybody. In 2002, an Italian mystic died peacefully. On that same year, a young man in Assisi called Francis was inspired by this thinker for his prophetic ideas. And this was extremely important for the birth and development of the Franciscan movement for all Franciscans. They followed the inspiration of Joachim de Fiore, and it led to the great poverty of Francis.
Della conoscenza.
The first time was that of knowledge, the second that of wisdom, the third will be that of full intelligence. The first imposed obedience, the second a filial relationship. The third stage will mark full freedom. The first was the age of slaves. The second, that of children. The third will be that of friends. In the first, the children were weaned. In the second, adolescents were educated. In the third, the fraternal spirits will be inebriated. The first was dominated by the older ones, the elders. The second, by the young. The third, by children. The first took place in the light of the stars. The second was the dawn. The third will usher in the full day. The first was winter. The second, the beginning of spring. The third will bring lilies. The first gave the grass. The second, the ears of corn. The third will bring the harvest.
I'm approaching one of the most important places in the history of Francis, the Sanctuary of Spoliation. Here Francis closed with his first life to embrace a new life. It all began right here, between this square and this building. These new excavations are bringing to light the place where Francis stripped himself before his father Pietro, Bishop Guido, and the city of Assisi. Let's take a step back. Francis is the son of the Assisi of 13th century. He handles money, and for some years he shares his father's mercantile activity. Pietro di Bernardone had been enriched like many others with trade, yet poverty prospers in the city. When the wealth of a few increases, misery grows for many others. The bourgeois flee from the misery from which they come. Many flee, while Francis begins to look at that misery differently. Francis makes his choice. He becomes poor out of love for the poor, an icon of Christ, his mad love.
Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved.
With the act known as a spoliation, Francis strips himself of his possessions and returns naked, a new creation. Because at the dawn of every authentic vocation, religious, civil, artistic, entrepreneurial, there is always a stage of dispossession. It happens when the person called understands, even with the language of the body, that he must basically press reset on his own existence. He has to start from scratch, as if he were born at that moment. He restarts, re-embarks, is reborn. And to be able to liberate that wild and new flight, he sees each garment as only a weight that would hold him down. There is no reset if there's no desire for new life, if we do not love the things we do, if a strong passion does not move us. The key to Francis was not altruism, it was passion. As Dante wrote, "Oh, unknown wealth, oh, most fertile good. Take off your shoes, Egidio, and yours as well, Silvestro. Behind the bridegroom, yes, the bride is pleasing." Wealth, desire for a different bride, this was Francis.
Here we are in the Upper Basilica. Giotto's Life of Saint Francis fresco dominates us and silently speaks to us. Amazed by the infinite beauty of these 28 scenes, we look back at Francis's life. Yet there's one piece gone missing. Rivo Torto, Francis kissing the leper. One of the most subversive kisses of the European Middle Age. The poor are rejected by history and by the telling of that same story. The first form of poverty experienced by the poor is narrative poverty. Going unnoticed, being forsaken, the lack of storytelling. Yet, that one episode was for Francis a fundamental episode.
At the foot of Mount Suvasio, there is Rivo Torto, which was born around the leper colony where Francis treated the sick. The place where Francis met and kissed the leper is located along the oldest road that connects Assisi with Rivo Torto. Francis, a true lover of perfect humility, goes among the lepers and lives with them, to serve them in every need for God's sake. He washes their bodies and heals their wounds, as he says in his testament, "When I was in my sins, it seemed too bitter to see lepers." Indeed, the sight of lepers was so unbearable that as soon as he saw their shelters 2 miles away, he would hold his nose with his hands. But here is what happened. At a time when he had already begun to have holy and sound thoughts by the grace and virtue of the Most High, while he was still living in the world, one day a leper appeared before him. He did violence to himself. He approached him and kissed him.
Not everyone chooses Madonna Povertà, but only Francis and those like him who know that typical joy of true and non-ideological poverty. That cosmic fraternity, that canticle of creatures, that absolute freedom, those kisses to the mouth and hands of lepers. The perfect joy only comes from those who know and live in a different kingdom. It is the family of the poor of the earth, where the ones who have become poor by choice feel like brothers and sisters of those without choice. Poor by choice next to those who are just poor, all close to one another. It is not a feeling, it's a way of being, a lifestyle. It's heaven on earth. Francis walked alongside with the poor, those left behind, rejected, the sick, the last ones. Francis's fraternity is always partial and partisan because he's on the side of the victims. It's not the fraternity of neighbors. It's not the fraternity of equals. It's not a simple fraternity. It is an unlikely fraternity and sorority. It's very difficult to talk about this poverty and fraternity. Only some artists and writers have been able to do it. Francis of Assisi is the outstanding example of care for the vulnerable and of an integral ecology. I think of the words spoken to him from the crucifix in the little church of San Damiano. Go, Francis, repair my house, which, as you see, is falling into ruin. The repair of that house concerns all of us and the heart of each individual. Increasingly, it concerns the environment, which urgently demands a sound economy and a sustainable development that can heal its wounds and assure us of a worthy future. Given this urgent need, each one of us is called. Your universities, your businesses, and your organizations are workshops of hope for creating new ways of understanding the economy and progress, for combating the culture of waste, giving voice to those who have none, and for proposing new lifestyles. Only when our economic and social system no longer produces even one single victim, one single person cast aside, will we be able to celebrate the feast of universal fraternity.
Yards for Hope. The Pope says that our companies and university are yards. In the yards, people get their hands dirty. Together they build, develop, brick after brick. They renovate, recover. They take care of everything. First San Damiano, then the Porziuncola, and even small houses are restored with straw, mud, and wood. This is also how the Fraternity of Francis begins, by taking care of the places. Care, day after day, gives body to the love of neighbor, and the world takes on the appearance of an ordered and harmonious creation. The small forest is also cleared, the vegetable garden is cleared, and the part left free for the growth of herbs and wildflowers. It's very beautiful that Francis, the lover of the poor and the last ones, begins by also taking care of the places. It's his cosmic fraternity.
Francis started working and working with his hands. Human work is also a place where God's presence becomes apparent. It is a place of answers and inner calls for those who work and for those who look at others working. Francis soon understands that the house to be repaired is not only San Damiano. During the concreteness and simplicity of our daily work and study, we can discover an even greater inner call. But the whole world cannot be repaired if we don't take care of the small realities belonging to us. I do not change the economy without changing my company. Francis is also the icon of the method through which society is transformed. Following him today means cultivating the dream and ideal of a new economy while repairing day after day our concrete realities. It is the cure for utopia. It is a prophecy which is always concrete, although it points to something that is not yet realized.
Allora, sono belli ricordi, no?
These are wonderful memories, aren't they?
Bene. Santuario della
So
Spoliazione.
the Shrine of Spoliation, San Damiano, Rivotorto.
Ieri siamo stati
Yesterday, many of us were in these places and in many more. These were two intense and very busy days. And we'd like to hear from you how you lived them out, how they went. By the way, have you all written down your personal commitment? Yeah? Okay. They're in the jar at the front. So I'm going to invite Farsha from Pakistan. And I would like to ask you a question. Microphone?
Yeah, we are going to ask you something.
We are going to ask you one thing.
Please come here.
So, the microphone? Yes, good. Grazie. So, allora, vogliamo sapere
We would like to know
una cosa che non era tra le tue
one thing which wasn't among your expectations.
for these days, please.
Hope everyone can hear me fine. Thank you. Well, it's hard to pick just one thing, but I guess if I were to pick just being able to learn so much from all these different cultures. I mean, the stage, look at that. Being able to immerse myself and just learn about different cultures. And one more thing I learned is the ultimate joy the Brazilians bring to the wherever they are.
Hanno visto?
Exactly.
Ah!
So it's been phenomenal. Thank you.
Grazie, thank you so much. Mi piace, non so a tutti. Allora, adesso chiamo André
We're
da
going to ask
Brasile.
Andre from Brazil to speak to us.
Il mio conterraneo. La domanda è
Countryman.
l'aspetto di
Question is, can you talk to us about one aspect of St. Francis which you did not know beforehand and which you've discovered in these last few days? Two, actually. Could be two. So then, first of all, his spirituality, because living out his spirituality in Assisi is wonderful. Did you notice what the sky looked like this morning in Assisi? It was like the angels had prepared for us, for this place, for this space, for this time. Whereas the second aspect, which deeply impressed me, I heard from Tebaldo that the Monti Frumentari was a seed bank and actually collected seeds and therefore food for everyone. And this is a great challenge for all of us. We need to stop hunger in the world. Thank you.
Grazie. Adesso
And now,
Magali.
Magali.
Argentina.
Magali from Argentina.
Allora, qui la prima cosa
So the first thing in your life that you will change when you go back home?
Change when you're back home.
Okay, well, that's a great question, I think, and an important question. I believe that Assisi has bring us a very important bridge with different cultures, but a bridge of peace. So I think what we have to do when we come back, and personally, is to build those bridges in our culture, in our country. So I think that's the first thing to build a new economy. So thank you.
Grazie a te. Grazie mille. Grazie a
Thank you.
tutti.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Magali.
In questo momento di attesa in cui aspettiamo
At this time when we are so moved and excited waiting for the Pope, we want to thank all the people who are behind the scenes. We want to thank you all, the staff, the volunteers, the technicians, coordinating everything. Our director, Maria Matacalo, Lights, Civil Protection Service, all the journalists who are here, all the workers dedicated to security, the fantastic set of interpreters who are working in these days and the work alongside us over the years, and also then the sign language people, and especially Sister Veronica, who's done the sign language.
Ecco, come sapete,
As you know, Pope Francis is about to land, but we have a few minutes to ask a few questions. So I'll just ask a couple of people here to tell me how the day went yesterday. So perhaps, Gianpaolo, can you come and help me?
sì, però con il microfono.
But you need the mic.
Ecco, raccontaci com'è stato il
Grazie, un
lavoro
applauso di
ieri.
incoraggiamento.
Tell us something. Thank
Si sente? Un applauso di incoraggiamento, io sono timido.
Please encourage me with a round of applause because I'm quite shy. Anyway, it was a day of sharing because we were able to listen to concrete experiences. I am part of Geofinance and New Humanity, and we heard experiences, true real-life experiences of entrepreneurship and banking models which are based on ethics. And then we also cooperated to draft the statement which we will then present to Pope Francis. So this was a truly wonderful experience. Many of us didn't know one another, so it was also a way of getting to know one another. So thank you so much for yesterday.
Grazie. Ora
Thank you.
abbiamo anche adesso un altro giovane.
We want to ask another young person who has been part of the village. Would you like to come?
But you have to come here.
You need to come up. Come onto the stage, please.
You can tell us the name of your village and a little bit of the work you were doing yesterday.
Okay, so my village is CO2 of Inequalities. A very active village. So we have a very interesting conversation yesterday, different activities. And it was a good opportunity also to discuss about inequalities, but outside maybe the field of work that we are working right now. So it was interesting that we had the opportunity also to build together, to listen from other point of views and perspective. And it was very nice to see even the new villagers and the ones that we have been involved since the beginning. So it was a very good experience, and I'm so proud of my village. So,
Thank you so much. Okay, we still have time for one more question. I would like to ask Diletta Please come here. Abbiamo anche così un altro intervento in italiano.
So we have another contribution in Italian. Come, could you tell us a little bit about the work you did in your village?
Hi everyone. So I'm one of the coordinators.
In italiano.
Sono una delle coordinatrici del.
Well, I'm one of the coordinators of the economics village. It was a fantastic experience, especially because all continents were in our village. And this really opened massive perspectives before us. We learned many new things, some less good things, but we have so much baggage to take with us for the coming months.
Bene, io penso che
L'attesa è tanta, però anche l'emozione.
We're very moved. We're so excited.
È da tantissimo che aspettiamo questo
We've
momento.
been waiting for this time for years now, and at last it has arrived.
Facciano conto al reverso, no? Come
Alla rovescia.
You will need to do a countdown.
è veramente bello
It's really fantastic
anche se ieri non ci siamo
to
trovati.
see, even though we weren't here, we didn't meet here, so much work happened in all these beautiful places in Assisi. And knowing that the villages weren't in Zoom sessions, but they were in fixed places, they had a place in which to meet face to face, not only with St. Francis himself, but amongst ourselves. And now we have a living opportunity, a live opportunity to meet with Pope Francis. Our joy won't end here.
Sì, no, l'emozione è tanta. E poi, come dicevi tu, Lourdes,
We're very moved, as you said, Lourdes, to meet in the villages and not on Zoom had a very different effect on all of us. We felt as though we had always met. It was the days of 1,000 embraces.
It was greatly moving, and we could feel it under our skin. It was as though the time was so short.
Avete partecipato ai workshop, alle conferenze?
Then in the afternoon, there were workshops. Did you take part in the workshops, in the talks? How did they go?
Allora vieni, raccontaci un po'.
Tell us, come and tell us something about it.
Ah, sì. Grazie.
Thank you.
Ho detto che le conferenze
I said that the conferences were fantastic.
c'è modo di crescere insieme,
And there's
mettere insieme teste diverse.
potential for growing together, putting our heads together to create interesting reflections in order to resolve complex problems. It's not easy to change the economy, but together, from all countries, lots of languages, lots of ideas, we will be able to see ahead. Thank you.
E ora indovinate che cosa sta succedendo?
So now guess what's happening?
Indovinate che cosa sta succedendo?
Guess what's happening?
Sta atterrando Papa
The
Francesco.
Pope is landing.
Quindi facciamo un applauso che lo possa sentire.
So let's give him a round of applause that he can even hear outside.
Take me by the hand, show me the way I can go. Take me by the hand, show me the way. Take me by the hand, show me the way I can go. Take me by the hand, show me the way. When we get to the chorus, we're gonna sing together, okay? Yes. Baila bonita, oh
Wonderful. Thank you, Niado. Thank you. But I think penso che questo ambiente sia proprio.
I think this environment is just the very right one to welcome the Pope. So we'd like you to carry on with a bit more music. Fantastic. Thank you.
So guys, since we have more time, we're gonna do another song we did already, but it's always good to be happy, so you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna have to sing happy again. All right, so I want y'all to help me in the chorus. You know the chorus, right? You remember happy? It's a song, it's like... It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, now you can take a break. Woo! Cause I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. Woo! With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Cause I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Yeah, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey. He come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got, or don't you hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you that I'll be just fine. Woo! That's to you, don't waste your time. Here's Francesco. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along. If you know what happiness is to you, yeah. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. All right, let's do some clapping, okay? Follow the ladies. Okay, sounding good, sounding good. Now we're gonna add the vocals again. Are you ready? Ladies, are you ready? Let's go, let's go. All right. Happy, 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 happy. All right, let's go. Bring me down, I can't nothing. Bring me down, my liver's too high. Bring me down, I can't nothing. Bring me down, my liver's too high. Bring me down, I can't nothing. Bring me down, my liver's too high. Bring me down, I can't nothing. Woo! Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof, yeah. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you, yeah. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like happiness on the roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you, yeah. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Thank you very much.
The Pope has just landed. We've just seen his helicopter landing. He's arrived. Now it's the first time the Pope is coming to a theater in this town, in this city. So let's assure him that we're thrilled to meet him, but always ask you not to stand up, to stay in your places, because we're in a live television broadcast. So we need to be calmly as well in our places. The Pope is already here with us, very, very nearly. So this is a fantastic moment that we've been waiting for. We are waiting to make a pact, a commitment to the future. We also need to know how to listen to his words. We need to know how to speak through our actions, to bring to him the joy we feel, the joy we have experienced in these 3 days, the joy of the economy of Francesco, to show him what this economy of Francesco really is.
Abbiamo anche tante persone lì che gli
There
faranno
are
il primo saluto,
many
che lo
people there who will be greeting him first of all, and then we're waiting for him here on the stage. These pictures are really powerful.
quando lui ci ha invitati qua
He wrote us, he invited us to come to Assisi.
diverse a quelle che viviamo. Anche noi siamo
And
diversi,
so
no?
we're different from how we were then. We've changed in these 3 years. We're not the same people we were, and we said that yes, a yes, trusting, not knowing where this yes was taking us, and here we are in Assisi all together to meet Pope Francis. It's truly a fantastic moment.
It's as though we are harvesting these deep emotions that we've been cultivating all this time.
Eccolo qua, Papa Francesco.
So Pope Francis is with us.
È sempre più vicino.
He's really close by now.
Siete pronti?
Are you ready?
Guardate lì, che ci sono anche le bandierine di tutti i paesi.
There are the flags of all the countries represented here. There are many countries represented from all over the world. And this is the beauty of the economy of Francesco. This is its great beauty.
Emozionante, no? Io non so voi, ma
It's very moving. I'm not sure about you, but the first thing I would like to say to him is thank you. Do you all agree?
sono le generazioni più giovani.
These are the younger generations there outside who have the first opportunity to meet him, the future generations of the economy of Francesco.
Ecco, ha preso la bandierina del Canada.
He's taken the Canadian flag, where he went to Canada just a short while ago.
Ha voluto salutare a tutti i ragazzi.
He wants to say hello to each one of these young people, these children who are from the local schools in Assisi. We really hardly need words to comment on these wonderful images. Let's just watch in silence.
Ci porta lacrime negli occhi.
Brings tears to our eyes.
Arriva.
Eccolo.
He's coming.
Il vescovo di Assisi, Domenico Sorrentino.
That is the Bishop of Assisi, Domenico Sorrentino, who greeted him, welcoming him. There is our friend Maria Jorde from Norway, who's greeting him and giving him a gift.
Maria Jordet, come tanti altri.
Maria Jorde, as many others, is part of the EoF Academy, which is one of the realities of the economy of Francesco. And here is Mozadia from Mozambique. Sadia.
Vediamo ora Agustina Brizuela.
Now we see Agustina Brizuela, who is an economist from Argentina. She too is part of the EoF Academy. It's one of the realities of the EoF. The young researchers are presenting their work as professors and teachers in universities. And this is one of the really good aspects of the economy. Francesco, here is Sohan Patrick, a businessman from Sri Lanka. After Laudato Si, he felt this calling to do something within his community. And so he set to work. He did a great deal of work in collaboration with his parish and with the bishop in his city, Sohan from Sri Lanka.
Sta per arrivare.
He's about to come in.
Ecco la selfie che non poteva mancare.
We couldn't be without a selfie.
Finalmente gli ultimi secondi.
Last few seconds.
Eccolo. La nostra carissima Suora Alessandra
Our
Smerilli.
very dear friend, Sister Alessandra Smerilli from the Dicastery for Human Development.
C'è anche la sindaco Stefania.
So there's our mayor of Assisi, Stefania.
Gli ultimi metri, eh?
Sta arrivando! Arriva! No! Francesco! Francesco!
Francesco, Francesco. Francesco, 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 Francesco.
Bienvenido, Papa Francisco. Bienvenidos. Muchas gracias.
Welcome, Pope Francis.
Estos son los jóvenes de The Economy of Francesco.
Welcome on behalf of everyone in the Economy of Francisco.
Sei finalmente qui ad Assisi con noi, Papa.
Finally here in Assisi with us.
Veramente bello averti qui con noi finalmente.
It's so beautiful to have you here with us at last. Thank you. But did you think we were so beautiful? Some of us aren't so good, no, but
Ora, Papa Francesco,
now,
abbiamo
Pope
preparato
Francis,
un momento per te.
we've prepared a moment for you.
Va, sii sentinella notturna.
Go, post the lookout. Let him announce what he sees. Let him watch closely, very closely. Then the watcher called out, "Upon a watchtower I stand, O Lord, continually by day, and at my post I'm stationed throughout the night. Look, here they come, riders, horsemen in pairs." Then he responded, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon, and all the images of her gods lie shattered on the ground." One's calling to me from Seir, "Sentinel, what of the night? Sentinel, what of the night?"
Sentinella?
How long?
How long is left of the night?
Sentinel says, "Morning comes and also the night. If you will inquire, inquire. Come back again and ask again."
Sentinel, how long until the day?
Sentinella, how long until the day?
敬畏，夜已何时了？夜已何时了？
Il mattino viene, ma è ancora notte. Se volete domandare...
Morning's coming, but it's still night. If you want to ask, ask. Come back and ask again.
Скільки триватиме війна? Коли закінчиться безмежний біль нашого народу? Біль солдатів, біль жінок і дітей. Коли земля забуде мистецтво війни і навчиться мистецтву миру і гостинності. Шомер Мамілан.
نگهبان تا کی باید منتظر بمانیم تا حقوق زنان
How long do we in Afghanistan and all the countries of the world have to wait for the rights of women, girls and children?
Morning comes, but it's still night. If you want, ask, inquire. Come back and ask again.
How much is left of the night that engulfs our Mother Earth? Are we still in time to save her? When will politics understand and change? Sentinel, what of the night?
Sentinela, estamos esmagados e
Sentinel, we are crushed and humiliated. When will the rights of indigenous peoples and our different economies be recognized? When will our ancient and noble cultures be respected and perhaps even imitated? This night has lasted for centuries. When will it end?
Morning comes, and also the night. If you will inquire, inquire. Come back again.
Sentinelle, combien de temps faudra-t-il
Sentinel, how long must we wait for a more fraternal, inclusive and egalitarian economy? When will the economy that kills turn into the economy of life?
Centinela, ¿cuándo será vencida la miseria?
Sentinel, when will poverty be defeated? When will every girl and boy be able to grow up in a world that lets them live the life they want to live?
Morning comes, and also the night. If you will inquire, inquire. Come back again.
L'uomo non è il suo errore. Abbiamo sbagliato.
His mistake. We made mistakes, but we too are entitled to the future, to hope. How much longer? When will our work be recognized as real work? When will prisons become fully humane places? What of the night?
Il mattino viene.
Morning comes, and also the night. If you will inquire, inquire. Come back again. Ask again. Don't be tired of asking. I am the one who is there.
Le parole del profeta Isaia.
The words of the prophet Isaiah are a great teaching on prophecy, yesterday and today. This song is many things at the same time. It's a prayer of expectation and hope during the night, of the expectation and hope for God, for a friend, for heaven, for justice, for peace. The prophet is the watchman of the night. He lives at night, like everyone else, ignorant of the time of dawn. He knows the night, it's his time, and he doesn't give answers that he can't give. The prophet is he who remains. He's faithful in his night watchtower. And there he hopes, he waits, believes. He doesn't know, like everyone, with everyone. But he talks with passers-by. He talks to the wayfarers of the night who ask for Shema Mamilaya. Watchman, how much of the night is left? And he replies, the morning is coming, but it's still night. If you want to ask, ask. Come back and ask again. He can't give answers that he doesn't have, but he doesn't refuse to hear the questions. He doesn't send those who ask away because he has no answers to give, but he invites them to keep on asking, to come back again. So the prophet is the man and woman of the nocturnal dialogue. He's the companion of the time of questions without answers. Therefore, of our time, he can only answer by giving his only two certainties, that it's still night and that dawn will come. Prophetic hope doesn't deny the night and doesn't deny the dawn. Fidelity to his vocation lies in knowing how to remain ignorant between night and dawn. Prophets love the time they're in by dialoguing with those who ask in search of answers without being able to answer, being close to those who ask, remaining beside them and listening. The first good Samaritans of the Bible are the prophets, who silently bend towards the victims of history. And while they live this dialogue in the night, the first glimmers of the day appear. There's no more beautiful sunrise than the one that surprises us in the company of the prophets.
L'economia di Francesco è economia profetica.
The economy of Francis is a prophetic economy. It must be prophecy. Each of us felt called by a voice, and today we're here, faithful to the voice that called us. In this time of change, of epoch, we don't always have answers to give, but we can always listen to the questions of young people and of all those who are asking for a different world, a different economy, the economy of Francis.
We do not have answers to all the economic challenges of our time, but we can all listen to the questions of our friends, of victims, of children, of the earth, of the least. People and dimensions that we wanted to depict in the passers-by with their lanterns.
A lantern is a small light, but enough to be able to take the next step. So for those who ask us for answers, we have the lantern to take the next step together, which is the only step that matters, because it's the one we take. To those who are looking for a new economy, we say, the morning is coming, but it's still night. If you want to ask, come back and ask again. Don't get tired. I am the one who is. We are the men and women of listening and dialogue.
senza rumore, c'è solo il suono che fa il silenzio e l'aria calda porta il sapore di stelle assenzio. Le dita sfiorano le pietre calme, calde di un sole, memoria, un mito, il buio ha preso con sé le palme, sembra che il giorno non sia esistito.
Io la vedetta all'illuminato, guardiano eterno di non so cosa, cerco innocente perché ho peccato la luna ombrosa e aspetto immobile che si espanda l'onda di tuono che seguirà, il lampo secco di una domanda, la voce d'uomo che chiederà.
Shomer mami laila, shomer mami lel, shomer mami laila, shomer mami lel, shomer mami laila, shomer, shomer mami lel.
Sono da secoli o da un momento fermo in un vuoto in cui tutto tace. Non so più dire da quanto sento angoscia o pace. Coi sensi tesi, fuori dal tempo, fuori dal mondo, sto ad aspettare che in un sussurro di voce o vento qualcuno venga per domandare.
E li avverto, radi come le dita, ma sento voci, sento un brusio e sento d'essere l'infinita eco di Dio. E dopo i numeri, come sabbia, ansiosa anonima, oscurità, ma voce sola di fede o rabbia, notturno grido che chiederà.
Shomer mami laila,
Shomer, 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 mami laila, mami laila, shomer, 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 mami laila, mami laila.
La notte udite sta per finire, ma il giorno ancora non è arrivato. Sembra che il vento nel suo bruire resti inchiodato.
Ma io veglio sempre, perciò insistete, voi lo potete ridomandare, tornate ancora se lo volete, non vi stancate.
Fermami la fermami
Quando finisce la notte.
Ancora una volta Papa Francesco, benvenuto ad Assisi.
Dear Pope Francis, welcome to Assisi.
Ognuno di questi giovani è EoF.
Each one of these young people is the economy of Francesco.
Hai mantenuto la tua promessa come solo gli amici veri sanno fare. Noi lo sapevamo.
In your letter, you said, I'll see you in Assisi, and you've kept your promise, as only a true friend can, because we've always known it. You're the father for us, but you're also our friend, in the meaning that this word has in the gospel. And we felt you close in these past 3 years, and we've waited such a long time for this meeting that today we'd like time now to slow down, so as to be able to tell you about all of our dreams, our courage, our expectations, work, projects, ideas. We've prepared ourselves, we've prayed, and now we give thanks.
We come from many countries, over 100, Malaysia, United States, Mozambique, Cuba, Spain, and many others. We come from those building sites of hope, which are our universities, businesses, and organizations. We come from the great cities of the world, from the suburbs or from small towns. We set out alone or in a group with friends and colleagues. We heard about the economy of Francesco at the beginning, or maybe just recently. We are very, very young, some of them. Some of us have not yet turned 18. Others are a bit older with their children.
You've just seen a fruit of the work of the world's young economists, entrepreneurs and change makers, who are living firsthand the questions and hopes they've described. They did so to the notes of the international group, NIADO, who've always been active members of EoF, with the contribution of the Arteca Choir, which brings music to the neighborhoods, and the dancers of Dance Lab, which in different parts of the world involves thousands of young people with the project Harmony Among Peoples to build a culture of peace through art.
Dalla regia di Maria Amata Calò.
And Maria Amata Calò has put everything together for us here.
Oggi, Papa Francesco, hai visto?
Today, Pope Francis, you've seen it's a day of celebration, of joy and gratitude. These are the protagonists here with us in this moment with you. I'd like to say, in the name of everybody, thank you because you've believed in us.
È una bella scommessa, ha detto.
It's a great challenge.
Ti ringrazio anche.
We thank you because you called us to give a soul to the economy and have shown us St. Francis as the example to look to and to learn from him how to live fraternity. Thank you because you've reminded us that we're not the future, we're the present. We're the present and not the future. The future will never come.
microfono, così lo facciamo.
We'll give the Pope a mic.
Io le dicevo che se non avete niente da dire, almeno fate chiaro.
I was saying that even if you have nothing to say, at least make a lot of noise.
Grazie. Martin Luther King amava dire: se oggi mi dicessero...
Martin Luther King said, if today they told me that tomorrow's the end of the world, I'd plant a tree. In this difficult time, you planted a tree, and this tree is us. A tree that grows while a forest falls. Because we realize that economy needs roots, but it also needs to appreciate signs. It needs soul, it needs light. And today, here with us, there are some examples of this, and the stories that some of our friends are going to tell now, their stories. But before we hear their stories, we want to show you this little video, what we've been doing in the last few days.
Sono Serena, studentessa di dottorato.
My name is Serena. I'm a PhD student in economics. I study economy at a corporate level, the economic structure of states and their market performance. I'm interested in the whole complex, beautiful world. Although the unit of observation of my models are the state and nations, my daily attention is for every single person as a whole. Yes, I am an economist, but an economist of Francesco. The profession I'm preparing for is research, which means seeking again. What I try to do every day is just that. Never stop trying, never stop being amazed, loving the newness that life offers me. Yes, young people are like this. We have little past behind us and much future ahead. We are so unsure about the future that we only see it in the here and now. Along the path that led me to continue my studies, there were two very powerful moments. The publication of the encyclical Laudato Si in May 2019, with which you, Pope Francis, called us together to rethink the economy. Those words shook me like a branch in the wind. They gave meaning to my choices, unified my profession and my ethical choice. I felt those words were a vocation, an unexpected call to which I responded with enthusiasm. I'm aware I'm part of a far-reaching process that I share with other economists, brothers and sisters of the economy of Francesco. Three more words. The first, of course, is thank you, because without this call of the EoF, I wouldn't have continued my studies with a doctorate in economics. The second is again. Today I ask you, Pope Francis, to continue to looking at us with trust and hope. We need this. We won't be satisfied with what we've achieved so far, but we'll cast our nets into the sea again, in spite of the storms. We are not alone. The final word is today. We can't design the economy of the future without looking at the present. I've tried to use my skills in the university classes, putting them at the service of the community, of my diocese, my own country, especially the poor who can be loved with intelligence. My commitment starts today and here again. I commit to the EoF and the vision of Francis. To myself and all of us, I ask that we begin again to look at our economy and the people who are part of it through the lens of fraternity, to look up to heaven and thank God who wanted me to become an economist of Francis at the service of an economy that exists already, but which truly will be that of Francis tomorrow.
Je suis Henri Totin, directeur exécutif de l'ONG EoF au Bénin, étudiant passionné par les économies vertes et
Executive Director of the EoF NGO in Benin. I'm a student with a passion for green and circular economies. For me, it all started with a real challenge and desire to transform a serious problem into an opportunity for the inhabitants of Dangbo in the Ueme Valley. The water hyacinth is an aquatic plant that invades the surface of lakes and rivers in very humid places where life takes place on the water. The inhabitants have always battled against this invasive plant, but the simple removal was not a solution because the hyacinth comes back stronger, occupying the same areas and constantly proliferating. The tragedy of one family moved me, the death of a little brother due to the difficulty of traveling on the river, which delayed his getting to the hospital. This made me more aware of the problems caused by the invasion of the river by a plant species commonly called tongle. Together with other young people from the village, we tackled this problem seriously. In 2015, the answer came. The transformation of the hyacinths, expertly mixed with other natural ingredients into a magical compound, which on the one hand has the main purpose of becoming an excellent fertilizer, and the other, thanks to the fibers obtained from its decomposition, can also be transformed into works of art, furniture, and personal accessories. A sort of poison transformed into what we now call green gold, an innovative approach that improves local life and allows the region's domestic farming to evolve into something organized, resilient, and exemplary, also for many regions with similar conditions. We are now developing small businesses in these communities called cooperatives aimed at an inclusive and participatory economy that respects the environmental principles and contributes to social equity. The activities which have been developed revolve around the enhancement of this invasive plant, the water hyacinth, to transform it into organic compost, artistic objects, organic carbon-absorbent fibers, and biogas. In addition to the production aspect, agricultural innovations based on often overlooked ancestral knowledge offer opportunity for the young green entrepreneurs in French-speaking Africa. We promote green entrepreneurship whose services limit greenhouse gas emissions, minimize pollution, and save resources with a local impact. Personally, I must say that we are now planning to build a center to promote the values of the economy of Francesco for people with disabilities and unable to access economic activities. We are brave and creative around the economy of Francesco and have the desire to counter the damage caused by global warming, focusing on the environmental, social, and economic development of the world. together we can. Thank you, Holy Father.
Mi nombre es Facundo Pascuto, soy de la República Argentina.
My name is Facundo Pascuto from the Argentine Republic. I graduated as a journalist and social communicator, obtained a regional specialization in international security and non-proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. I work as a professor at the National University and I represent the project 100 Assisi, 100 Assisi. The project stems from His Holiness's call to rethink an economy with a human face, which challenges and mobilizes us to multiply this proposal. We try to spread the Holy Father's work in the entirety of Argentina by carrying out small assises with not-for-profit organizations, local circles, cooperatives, community canteens, prison units, and small and medium-sized enterprises. The project is twofold. On the one hand, we provide academic tools, professional training, legal and accounting advice to these institutions, and on the other, we celebrate an assisi in each of them. Our 100 assises structured. At each meeting, we try to ensure that representatives from all sectors are present: trade unions, workers from the popular economy, SME entrepreneurs, representatives of the church, neighbors, and other social actors, depending on where this is held. The aim is to foster dialogue between the different actors. Many times, due to the dizzying pace of daily life, the same actors in a small community do not know each other, and this is a good reason to start a dialogue that lasts. We propose the meeting based on the concept of polyedron, where parts come together without losing their uniqueness. What is the result of this project? On the one hand, systems of relationship are generated between community actors that either did not exist or needed to be strengthened. In turn, at each meeting, we commit to addressing an issue, and from there we work together to mitigate it. Thirdly, we discuss these issues and we try to work on something which might be environmental, labor-based, vocational training, and so on. Once discussed, we see to look at them through the prism of how Francis teaches us. So we try to promote the culture of encounter, the non-transforming others into things, and to ensure that the entirety of society is considered. So the things which we share are much more than what separates us. Finally, I would like to share what the economy of Francesco represented for the birth of our project. We found a way to put His Holiness's words into practice, the hope of knowing that there are many of us who favor unity over conflict and the common good as the engine of change towards integral development. Thank you, Pope Francis, for having given us hope.
Hello, everyone, esteemed guests, fellow speakers, Pope Francis. It is an honor to be here today and to be the youngest speaker at this event. My name is Lily Latlin Tititanasan, and I am a Thai youth environmental activist. I have met with multiple government ministries, people in power, and retailing companies in order to fight for climate justice. However, I am first and foremost a member of the youth, and I am fighting for my future. I had started my activism by the time I was 8, and I also saw the effects of climate change and pollution by the time I was 8. I saw single-use plastic scattered on the floor, and my world that I love so dearly being destroyed. No child should have to be exposed to the harsh realities of the world and told that they are too young to make a difference. At that time, I didn't plan on becoming an activist. I only wanted to do what was right. I pushed forward in finding a sustainable change and started in my local communities, talking to my friends and family about reducing single-use plastics. I felt a responsibility to do the right thing. To me, even as a child, this was the right thing to do. Then I realized that change could not be made individually. I had to reach out for help, look at my communities to do the right thing. I called local government and told them the harm of single-use plastics and my intention to stop them. Even if I wrote letters to the government or companies, I would get a reply back telling me that I should continue with my studies and focus on being a normal kid. But to me, being a normal kid was to have morals and to fight for them, to have a community like the Economy of Francesco, and to be able to live it and love it. I took this as a sign to push harder. I couldn't give up. It would feel like a disservice to everyone who had supported me, and most importantly, the environment and generation I was trying to fight for. As a youth, they didn't take my concerns seriously. But after many and many meetings and presentations with both the Ministry of Natural Resources in my country and large retailing companies, we started to push forward a sustainable solution. And at the start of 2020, they issued a nationwide single-use plastic bag ban in 70+ major retailers. This is one of my successes. I have been an activist for almost half my life, and throughout that time, I had learned that every environmental issue will affect everyone. We all live on this earth together. We live under one sun. Therefore, we have an equal responsibility to protect the world and home we have, to work together and not against each other. The Economy of Francesco is a perfect example of this. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to speak and share my story to Pope Francis, and thank him for paving the way for young people like me and inspire me and share our voices to be heard for the better. They inspired me and pushed me for change. Just by being here today, I feel the collective support and empowerment of everyone in this room trying to push for an equal, sustainable solution and fighting for a difference. I feel heard and understood. I would like to thank you for all the participants and speakers today for that. Today is an example of what could be done when coming together in a community like this, how everyone in this room has the right for their voices to be heard, just like mine. Thank you so much.
Life is so precious, isn't that what they say? Why do we seem to keep looking the other way? Found myself walking alone in the struggle. All I wanted was to keep away from their trouble. God bless the man that gives. What you see is a life if it's only half lived. Would you cry with me now if I say that I could win? Should I let this all until the truth can begin? Whoa. Won't these people just let me live? I got too much in this life to give, and I'm not waiting for no one. I'm gonna make my own way. I'm gonna wake up to a new day, whatever the price I'll pay. Ooh, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up to a new day. Oh, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up to a new day. Matata mingi, kujiamini bila hata shilingi. How do you start the journey of a million steps? How do you swim to the top when you know you're drowning in the depths? And no, I do this for my daughter, and I refuse to let this all just end here in the water. Leave it all behind and just float. Freedom is harder to live than I hope, yeah. Won't these people just let me live? Ooh, I got too much in this life to give, and I'm not waiting for no one. I'm gonna make my own way. I'm gonna wake up to a new day, whatever the price I'll pay. Ooh, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. Oh, I'm gonna wake up to a new up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up to a new day, saying I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna wake up. Whoa, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up, I am. 'Cause rise and fall round and round. I'm gonna raise my feet off the ground. And here we go, round and round. I'm gonna raise my feet off the ground.
I thank the Almighty God for such an opportunity. I'm Samuel Lekato, a young man from Kenya, and a son of nomad with big dreams. I'm a fresh graduate from the university with a bachelor degrees in economic and statistics. I started my career journey as a nursery school teacher. I used to volunteer in a Maasai village. I ran community services, creating awareness on environment, a conservationist, and a community educator. This is the burden and the trust that I carry for my community. The internet makes the world a small place. For me to know EoF, I knew it through a friend who told me that this will be an eye-opener, self-development, and service to others. This made me realize myself spiritually and also to service to others. This is the great team of EoF received me warmly. I was mentored career-wise. And also psychologically. I've made friends, mentors within the team. With the team, we did such a great and noble job that we did. We drafted a drought plan that was to went a long way to help the community and the less disadvantaged. During this prolonged drought, we've seen tremendous activities we have done with a great team and the village of life and lifestyle. Thank you so much. If I had the whole day, I could not enumerate the big things that they done for me as a person in the big community. I really lack words to say. In this world, we are preaching the gospel of climate action. Climate action, inequality in everything. The sustainable development goals we are preaching. Brethren, and the society that the Saint and the Martin Luther King preach for is what I received. The love that appreciates diversity. We need a green globe and a clean environment. Climate change remains a big crisis in the world. I'm a victim of climate change. We suffer droughts every now and then. I'm a victim of drought. But what we can do, plant a tree, save the future. Asante.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell my story. I am a young Afghan woman. In my country, I was a teacher and activist for women's rights. I was committed to tackling gender inequality, prejudice, and violence against women. In carrying out my business, I had to face many obstacles and threats, but I never gave up. The lives of Afghan women had changed a lot. And we saw considerable progress. But with the Taliban government, I saw results of 20 years of work destroyed. Now there is unemployment, poverty and tyranny reigning in Afghanistan. Women are no longer free. They cannot study or work. Anyone who campaigns for rights is brutally repressed. Even just listening to music in your car is an offense punishable by death. With the arrival of the Taliban, we women decided not to accept what they imposed on us. We had always defended our civil rights and could not compromise. We demonstrated and fought in many ways, but the result was threats, kidnappings, torture, and even the death of some activists. My husband took part in some demonstrations against the new regime, so he lost his job given to a Taliban member, and our house was burnt to the ground. On the 26th of August, we were on a list for a flight to the USA when a bomb prevented us reaching the airport. Departures were then stopped, and we had to stay in Afghanistan. I was desperate. An international organization for women's rights wasn't able to help us. Others said we'd have to wait years for a visa to the USA or Australia. We couldn't wait that long. We had no home or work, and the Taliban were looking for us. I decided to ask help from the list of 100 contacts I'd been given, people I didn't know. No one replied. Then, it was the 5th of October, 2021, I received an email from the economy of Francesco. Dearest Mariam, thank you for your email. We were very struck by your message, they said to me. We've shared your message with a group of lawyers here in Italy who are working to find practical solutions for you. But how are you with La Maria? I can't explain how much strength and hope I received from those words. I didn't know the economy of Francesco, and I didn't know that at that time it had organized events all over the world to support Afghan women. But I know that thanks to them, my husband and I, in April, landed in Italy. We've already received refugee status, and we hope that our families will also come soon, the rest of our families who are still in Afghanistan. I'm studying Italian. I would like to resume my commitment on behalf of the women of my country. Thank you, Pope Francis. Thank you, Economy of Francesco.
Dear Holy Father, Papa Francesco, my name is Mateusz Ciasnocha. I am a farmer from Poland and a member of Agriculture and Justice Village of Economy of Francesco. I am standing in front of you not to share my personal story, but to share the story of we, the story of the Farm of Francesco with you. The Farm of Francesco is a business that was born out of the Economy of Francesco, created by some of us who are here, Maria Virginia from Argentina, Natalie from Colombia, and others who are not with us physically here in Assisi, like Fede from Italy, Giacomo from Italy, Joseph from China, Rita from Nigeria, Janet from Mexico, and many, many others who supported us on our journey. Bravo. We, the Farm of Francesco, is on a mission of connecting two words, agriculture and justice, that initially brought our team together following your 2019 invitation. When I think about the Farm of Francesco, I see faces of people and processes. Firstly, I see a group of young people who responded to your call. Secondly, I see us taking action, self-organizing since May 2020 onwards, leaving our desire to act together in the face of global injustices, with very real local consequences, rooted in the original vocation of being co-gardeners with God in the Garden of Eden. I see us, with the help of the Holy Spirit, turning from being a group of people to a community with capital C, deciding to act. I see us offering countless hours of our free time, working on bringing the knowledge of regenerative agriculture to rural communities, youth in particular, and simultaneously engaging with formal policy processes, namely the COP26, the United Nations Food System Summit, and the Committee for Food Security, to bring the voices of those who do not have the voice into those processes. We are aware that this decade of action really matters. We, the youth of the farm of Francesco, are the prophets of change. We know growing the critical mass for changing our food systems through developing fraternal economy is critically important. This is why we continue taking action, specifically in Nigeria, where we first created a new demo farm currently run by our team member Rita, and now, in a partnership with a local team, we are implementing a project of supporting and enhancing business resilience of farmers located in 5 villages in Archdiocese of Ibadan, thanks to the financial investment received from the Carlo Acutis and St. Francis Award. As protagonists of the future we want to see, which involves Catholics and non-Catholics alike, we believe concrete actions on the ground can lead to systemic changes. This is why, with Youthful Joy, our team continues to engage in a series of advocacy activities, including the COP27 in partnership with Scholas Occurrentes, and the Laudato Si Action Platform, which the Farm of Francesco actively supports. We know you, Holy Father, together with the Holy See and all the dicasteries of the Vatican Curia, do daily what is right for us to build, not only to talk about. The fraternal world with the poor and the earth at the center. Therefore, we ask you, the Holy Father, to continue using your influence, voice, and most of all example in strengthening the accessibility and opportunity for the youth to be prophets of fraternism. We dream and want to continue putting our dreams into action. Please rest assured that the Farm of Francesco and the farmers of the world, young farmers in particular, are willing and ready to continue actively support yours and the Holy See's engagement in international processes, as well as strengthening bottom-up fraternal actions across the world. As we, the Farm of Francesco, is a business born within the economy of Francesco, I would like to end in a business way, asking for a blessing of our work and a follow-up meeting between us and you. We thank you for your leadership in action. We pray for you, and we ask you to pray for us.
Santo Padre, io sono Andrea e sono detenuto.
I'm Andrea. I've been in prison for over 9 years. These were years in which I've suffered a lot, but also a time in which I have profoundly changed. During this period, I was able to reflect on the true meaning of life and the most important values that should qualify it. Unfortunately, I killed a man during a nasty and senseless fight, and I will always carry this weight in my heart. I pray for his soul. From the first day, I tried to face my detention process in the most constructive way possible, taking on my responsibilities and trying to turn this time into an opportunity for growth. Initially, I thought about myself. I felt the need to understand what had brought me so far. I had to find my balance and the right path. Fortunately, I was not alone, and thanks to the support of the personnel, volunteers, and friends, I found the courage to believe in a new future. I had the opportunity to continue my studies, and today I study agrarian science, and I'm enrolled in physics at the University of Milan. Every exam is difficult and often hard, but every time I turn around, I see an increasingly vast panorama. It's beautiful. I am in Bollate, which is an excellent place where it's possible to rehabilitate in a concrete way and one full of opportunities. If I can, I would ask you to come to visit us. We would be truly honored.
Da un anno e mezzo ho il privilegio di lavorare per la
For the
cooperativa.
past year and a half, I've had the privilege of working for the cooperative Be For Other Minds, a reality that I never thought I'd find in prison. It's a special work environment where you lose the perception of a prison. It's an environment where human beings can truly flourish. Today, I wanted to talk about work, Pope Francis, which I know is very close to your heart. Work restores dignity, and in our cooperative, every single individual can experience the true meaning of social inclusion through commitment, perseverance, determination, and effort. This way, we can live the true meaning of social inclusion. I personally look after digital marketing, and thanks to the support of the cooperative, I was able to learn a new profession from scratch. Today, I have the opportunity to believe in a different, practical future. Generally, in prison, there are not many job opportunities or connection with the outside world. However, in this enterprise, we manage many orders, and on a daily basis, we're in close contact with companies that have decided to believe in this important reintegration project. We feel a great responsibility, and we hope to be able to contribute to creating a prison where you can exit better than how you entered.
La nostra attività.
Our business allows us to share with society the importance of work opportunities in prison and their great impact on the outside. It is right for people who make mistakes to end up in prison, but we must understand that they can also reach their true potential if the right conditions exist. Man is greater than his mistake. Every human being has great potential. It just needs to be discovered. I didn't even believe it myself, and it was thanks to the people who supported me that I'm here today to give my witness. I'm not an economist, but it seems obvious to think that to be a good investment for society, prison must obtain practical results, of which there are basically two: safety and zero recurrence. People who come out of prison must be changed and must transform themselves from a cost item to a resource for society. A person who understands his mistake is less likely to make mistakes again. Society, in my opinion, has a duty to reflect on this important aspect. With my presence here today, I would like, as someone already said, to give a voice to those who do not have a voice. I would like to put my face, my voice, my heart into it, and be the spokesperson for all those fellow prisoners who at this moment are lying on a bed inside a cell, weakened in body and destroyed in spirit. I would like to be there, also and above all for those who no longer see horizon in front of them, unable to give meaning to their lives. And today I ask myself, does the world have ears to listen to our voice, to hear our cry? Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the management of the Bollate prison and the magistrate of the Supervisory Court of Milan, Mr. Luerti, who allowed me to be here. I would also like to thank you, Pope Francis, for the hope that you give us every day through your words, for the dignity you give us. I'm a wounded young man, but I'm also a man of Francesco. At the beginning of my sentence in 2013, I wrote to you asking forgiveness for what I had done, and unexpectedly, I had received an answer in no time. Thanks to that forgiveness, my life was able to start again. And today I'm here with these 1,000 companions on the journey of resurrection on this earth, which continues. Thank you.
Papa Francesco, ognuna di queste storie rappresenta
Pope Francis, each one of these stories represents the economy of Francesco, and see how many more we could tell you. But now we wish to hear your words.
Carissime e carissimi giovani.
Dear young men, young women, good morning.
Saluto tutti voi.
I'd like to greet all of you who have come here and who had the opportunity to be here. But I would also like to greet all those who were not able to come here personally and are at home. So I'm thinking of every single one of you. We are all together, all united, they from where they are and us from here. And I've waited for more than 3 years for this moment, ever since I wrote on the 1st of May 2019 the letter that invited you and then brought you here to Assisi. For so many of you, as we've just heard, the encounter with the economy of Francesco awakened something that you already had within you. You were already committed to creating a new economy. That letter brought you together and gave you a broader horizon and made you feel part of a world community of young people who had the same vocation as you. And when a young person recognizes in another young person his or her own calling, and then this experience takes place again with hundreds, thousands of other young people, then great things become possible. Even the hope of changing an enormous and complex system like the world economy. In fact, today to speak about economy seems to be old vocabulary. Today we talk about finance, which is something which is not concrete, which is difficult to grasp. It's aeriform. Once a very intelligent economist with world renown said that she had an experience of an encounter between economics, humanism, and religion. And the meeting wasn't too bad. It went rather well. She tried to do the same with finance, and it didn't work out. Be very careful. Beware about the vacuousness of finance. You need to take into your hands the economic activity of human roots. And you, young people, with God's help, know how to do it. You can do it. Young people have done it before throughout history. They've done many things. You are living your youth in times that are not easy. The environmental crisis, the pandemic, and now the war in Ukraine, and the other wars that have been going on for years in different countries are having an impact on our lives. Our generation has bequeathed you many riches, but we have failed to care for the planet and are not safeguarding peace. When you hear that the fishermen here in San Benedetto del Tronto in 1 year fished out of the sea 12 tons of rubbish and plastic, you see how we are not stewarding the environment correctly, nor peace. You are called to become craftspeople and builders of our common home. This is a common home which is falling apart. Let's be clear about this. A new economy today, inspired by St. Francis of Assisi, can and must be an earth-friendly economy and an economy of peace. This is about transforming an economy that kills into an economy of life in all its dimension, to reach that way of loving which is not dolce vita or living in bliss, but it is that good life that the Aborigines teach us. It's a relationship with earth, with land. I appreciated your choice to base this Assisi meeting on prophecy. I did like what you said about prophecies. The life of Francis of Assisi after his conversion was a prophetic life, a life that continues also in our time. In the Bible, prophecy is very much connected with young people. Samuel was a boy when he was called. Jeremiah and Ezekiel were young. Daniel was a boy when he prophesied that Susanna was innocent and saved from death. And the prophet Joel proclaimed to the people that God would pour out his spirit and your sons and daughters will become prophets. According to the scriptures, young people are the bearers of a spirit of knowledge and intelligence. It was the young David who humbled the arrogance of the giant Goliath. Indeed, when the civil community and businesses are without the talents of young people, the whole of society withers, everyone's life suffers. There is a lack of creativity, a lack of optimism, a lack of enthusiasm. There is a lack of courage to take chances. A society, an economy without young people is sad, pessimistic, cynical. And if you want a proof of this, go into these hyper-specialized liberal economy universities and look at the young men and women and look at their faces. See how sad they are. But thank God, you are here. Not only will you be here tomorrow, but you're here today. You are not only what is the not yet. You are also the already. You are the present. An economy that is inspired by the prophetic dimension is expressed today in a new vision of the environment and the earth. We need to aim to this harmony with the environment, with land. There are many people, businesses and institutions that are carrying out an ecological conversion. We need to proceed along this route and do more. You are doing this more and you're asking everyone to do more. It's not enough to plaster over the cracks. We must question the very development model. In this situation, we cannot just wait for the next international summit, which may not be of great use. The earth is burning today, and it is today we must change at all levels. This past year, you've been working on the plant economy, which is an innovative topic. You have seen that the plant paradigm contains a different approach to the earth and to the environment. Plants know how to cooperate with their surroundings. And even when they compete, they are actually cooperating for the good of the ecosystem. Let us learn from the meekness of plants. Their humility and silence can offer us a different style, a different approach that we urgently need. Because if we talk about ecological transition but remain within the economic paradigm of the 20th century, which plundered natural resources of the earth, the strategies we adopt will always be insufficient or sick in their roots. The Bible is full of trees and plants, from the tree of life to the mustard seed. And St. Francis helps us with his cosmic sense of brotherhood and sisterhood with all living creatures. Over the last 2 centuries, humanity has developed at the expense of the earth. The earth paid the bill. We have often plundered it to increase our prosperity, and not even the prosperity of all, just a small group. This is the time for a new courage, to abandon fossil fuels as sources of energy and to accelerate the development of zero or positive impact energy sources. And then stopped just because I wanted to listen to your applause. I needed to breathe. And then we must accept the universal ethical principle, which people don't really like, that damage must be repaired. This is an ethical universal principle. Those who damage need to pay and repair. If we have prospered abusing the planet and the atmosphere today, we must learn that we need to make sacrifices in those lifestyles that are still unsustainable. Otherwise, it will be our children and grandchildren who will foot the bill, a bill which will be too high to pay and too unfair. I was listening to a crucial and important scientist on a world stage about 6 months ago, and he said, yesterday a granddaughter was born, and if we carry on, poor thing, within 30 years she will have to live in an uninhabitable world. So they, children and grandchildren, will foot the bill, and this bill will be too high to pay and too unfair. We need a quick and decisive change. And I'm saying this seriously. I count on you. I do count on you.
Per favore.
Please, don't give up on us. Lead us through your example. And I tell you the truth, in order to follow this path, courage is required. And sometimes we need a little bit of heroism too. I heard in a meeting a young man, 25 years old, and he had just emerged as a high-level engineer from his studies. He couldn't find work, and finally he found work in an industry, but he wasn't quite sure what they made. And when he discovered what he had to do, and with no work, but he turned the job offer down because that's where weapons were made. These are the heroes of today. Sustainability, therefore, is a multidimensional word. Besides the environment, there are also the social, relational, and spiritual dimensions. The social dimension is slowly beginning to be recognized. We're realizing that the cry of the poor and the cry of the earth are the same cry. Therefore, when we work for ecological transformation, we must keep in mind the effects that some environmental choices have on various types of poverty. Not all environmental solutions have the same effects on the poorest people, and therefore those that reduce absolute poverty and inequality should be preferred. While we try to save the planet, we cannot neglect the women and men who are suffering. The pollution that kills is not just carbon dioxide. Inequality too mortally pollutes our planet. We cannot allow the new environmental disasters to hide from public opinion the long-standing and ever-present disasters of social injustice and political injustice. Let's suffice it to think about this poor Rohingya population that is traveling from one place to the other because they can't dwell in their homeland. This is a political injustice. Then there is the unsustainability of our relationships. In many countries, the relationships between people are becoming impoverished, especially in the West. Communities are becoming increasingly fragile and fragmented. In some regions of the world, the family is going through a serious crisis, which includes a crisis in the acceptance and safeguarding of life. Current consumerism seeks to fill the emptiness in human relationships with ever more sophisticated goods. Loneliness is big business in our time, but doing so, it generates a famine of happiness. And this is something ugly. Think about the demographic point of view, the way this is connected to all this. In terms of demography, countries are shrinking, populations are shrinking seriously because no children are generated, because it's easier just to be in love with our cats and dogs and just carry on as it is. Creativity is what we need. And along this line of the demographic winter, there is the slavery of women. Women who cannot be mothers because as soon as their belly starts to grow, she's kicked out of her job. So pregnant women can't seem to be able to work. Finally, there is the spiritual unsustainability of our capitalism. Human beings created in the image and likeness of God, before being seekers of assets, are seekers of meaning. We are all seekers of meaning. That's why the first capital in any society is spiritual capital, because this is what motivates us to get up every day and go to work. And this generates the joy of life that is also necessary for the economy. Our world is rapidly consuming this essential form of capital that was accumulated over centuries by religions, by wisdom, by popular traditions. And so young people in particular suffer from this lack of meaning, especially when faced with pain and the uncertainties of life. They find themselves with a soul lacking in the spiritual resources needed to process suffering, frustration, disappointment, and bereavement. Look at the percentages of youth suicide. This is increasing, and it's not fully published, this amount. It's probably higher. The fragility of many young people stems from the lack of this precious spiritual capital. You all have. Do you have spiritual capital? Answer this privately, each and every one of you. This is an invisible, but more real capital than financial or technological capital. There's an urgent need to replenish this essential spiritual capital. Technology can do much. It teaches us what we can do and how to do it, but it does not tell us why we do it. And so our actions become sterile and do not fulfill our life, and not even our economic life. I'm here in the city of Francis, and I cannot help but talk about poverty. Wanting to carry out an economic model inspired by him means we commit to putting the poor at the center. Starting from them, to look at the economy stemming from them, to look at the world starting from them, without showing esteem, care, love of the poor, for every poor person, for every fragile and vulnerable person, from the child conceived in its mother's womb to the person affected by sickness and disability, to the elderly with age, afflicted by age problems. There is no economy of Francesco. And I would go further. An economy of Francesco cannot be limited to working for or with the poor. As long as our system produces people who are discarded and we work according to the system, we will be complicit in an economy that kills. So let us ask ourselves, are we doing enough to change this economy? Or are we content to change the color of the paint on the wall without changing the structure of the house? This is not about whitewashing. We need to structurally intervene. Perhaps the answer lies not in how much we can do, but in how we can manage to open new paths so that the poor themselves can become the main actors of change. There are experiences in India and in the Philippines in this direction, which are very, very worthwhile. St. Francis did not only love the poor, he also loved poverty. This austere way of life. Francis went to be with lepers, not so much to help them, but because he wanted to become poor like them. Following Jesus Christ, he stripped himself of everything to be poor with the poor. Well, the first market economy began in the 13th century in Europe in daily contact with the Franciscan friars, who were friends of those early merchants. That economy created wealth, of course, but it did not despise poverty. So we create wealth without despising poverty. Our capitalism, on the other hand, wants to help the poor, but does not respect them, does not understand the paradoxical beatitude, blessed are the poor. We must not love misery. Instead, we must fight it. First of all, by creating work that is worthy of all the person. But the gospel tells us that without having respect for the poor, poverty in any form cannot be combated. And instead, this is the very place from which we must start, including you, entrepreneurs and economists, by inhabiting St. Francis's evangelical paradoxes. When I speak to people, when I confess people, I always say, do you give alms to the poor? Oh, yeah, sure. And when you give alms to the poor, do you look them in the eyes? Well, I'm not sure is the answer. And when you give alms, do you throw the coin in the cup or do you touch their hands? And they don't touch their hands, they don't look them in the eyes. And this is moving away from the spirit of poverty, the true dimension of poor people and fighting, and moving away from this dimension of human relationship with the poor.
Qualcuno mi dirà, Papa.
And somebody will say, well, dear Pope, we're late. When are you finishing? I'm about to finish. I'm about to finish. In the light of this reflection, I would like to leave you with 3 pathways you might take. The first is to look at the world through the eyes of the poorest people. The Franciscan movement in the Middle Ages was able to create the first economic theories and even the first solidarity banks, known in Italian as Monti di Pietà, because they looked at the world through the eyes of the poorest people. You too will improve the economy if you look at things from the perspective of the victims and those who have been discarded. But if you want to see with the eyes of the poor and the victims, you have to know them. You have to be their friend. And believe me, if you become friends of the poor, if you share their lives, you will also share something of the kingdom of God, because Jesus said that theirs is the kingdom of heaven, and this is why they are blessed. So I repeat, don't let your daily choices produce people who are discarded. The second, you are above all students, scholars, entrepreneurs, but do not forget work. Do not forget workers. The work of our hands. Work is already the greatest challenge of our time and will be even more of a challenge tomorrow. Without dignified, well-paid work, young people do not truly become adults, and inequalities increase. Sometimes you can survive without work, but you can't live well. Therefore, while creating goods and services, do not forget to create work, good work, work for all. The first indication is incarnation. In the most crucial times of history, those who were able to make their mark in the world did so because they translated ideals, desires, and values into concrete works, incarnated. In addition to all that they wrote and the congresses they organized, those great men and women founded schools and universities, banks, trade unions, cooperatives, and institutions. You will change the world of economics if, as well as using your hearts and your heads, you also use your hands. You think, it's 3 languages. You think with your head, but that's not enough. It needs to be united to the language of heart sentiment and also the language of hands. And you need to do what you feel and you think what you do and feel, think what you do and feel. Ideas are necessary. They attract us very much, especially when we are young, but they can become traps if they do not become flesh. That is practical, daily commitment. The 3 languages. Only ideas get sick quickly, and we'll end up in orbit if we only have ideas. Ideas are necessary. They must become flesh. The Church has always rejected the temptation of Gnosticism, which is only ideas, and it thinks it can change the world only with a different form of knowledge without actually doing anything physical. Concrete works shine less brightly than great ideas because they are practical, specific, limited, containing both light and shadows, but they make the earth fruitful day after day. Dear young men and women, reality is superior to ideas. Beware. Dear brothers and sisters, I thank you for your commitment. Thank you. Go ahead with the inspiration and intercession of St. Francis. And now I would like to, if you agree, conclude with a prayer. I will read it, and from your heart, please follow. Father, we ask your forgiveness for so severely wounding the earth, for not respecting indigenous cultures, for not respecting and loving the poorest, for creating wealth without sharing it. Living God, who through your Spirit inspired the hearts, the hands and minds of these young people and set them off towards a promised land, look kindly upon their generosity, their love, their willingness to spend their lives for a great ideal. Bless them in their endeavors, Father, in their studies, in their dreams. Accompany them in their difficulties and sufferings, and help them transform these into virtue and wisdom. Support them in their desire for goodness and life. Sustain them in their disappointments in the face of bad examples. Let them not be discouraged, but continue along their way. You, whose only begotten Son became a carpenter, give them the joy of transforming the world with love, with their intelligence and their hands. Amen. Thank you very much.
Grazie. Grazie.
Thank you, Pope Francis. Thank you.
Soy el senador que en Brasil presentó la ley aprobada de la renta básica universal.
Grazie.
La cual habla tan bien en su libro Vamos a soñar juntos.
Grazie tanto, grazie.
Thank you very much. So you bring me books, and mate, but you're missing cachaça.
Grazie. Grazie Papa Francesco per queste.
Thank you, Pope Francis, for these beautiful words that for us, they're like a map for the future that awaits us. Thank you for your words. But they're a program for our new life ahead.
Grazie. Ora vogliamo continuare con questo momento.
Now we'd like to continue with this moment, which is the moment of the pact. So we prepared for this. So, Pope Francis, as you said, we're with you. Thank you for your words.
Grazie. Grazie.
Ok, adesso vogliamo andare e fare questo patto per cui ci siamo
Now
preparati.
we'd like to make this pact that we've prepared, and we want to read to you this pact of Assisi 2020-2021.
Cominciamo. Noi, giovani, economisti, imprenditori, change makers,
Us, change makers, entrepreneurs called here in Assisi from all over the world, aware of the responsibility which weighs on our generation, now take responsibility together to spend our lives so that today's economy and tomorrow's economy becomes an economy of the gospel.
An economy of peace and not of war. An economy that takes care of creation. Economy at the service of people, the family and life. Respectful of every woman, man, child, elderly person, above all of the most fragile and vulnerable. An economy where care replaces waste and indifference. An economy that leaves no one behind, to build a society in which the stones discarded by the dominant mentality become the cornerstone. An economy that recognizes and protects decent and safe work for all, especially for women. An economy where finance is a friend and ally, work for and not against them. An economy that knows how to enhance and preserve the cultures, all living species, and the natural resources of the earth. An economy that fights poverty in all its forms, reduces inequalities, and knows how to say, "Blessed are the poor." An economy guided by personal ethics, that creates wealth for everyone, that generates joy and not just well-being, because a joy that's not shared is too little.
We believe in this economy. It's not utopia because we are already building it. And some of us, on particularly bright mornings, have already glimpsed the beginning of the promised land. Assisi, 24th of September 2022. The economists, men and women, entrepreneurs, change makers, students, men and women, workers, men and women. Thank you.
Adesso Papa Francesco e Lily, che è una
Now, Pope Francis and Lily, she's one of the youngest people here, they'll sign the text of the pact that we've just read.
Vorremmo che tu, Papa Francesco, conservassi questa penna come un
And
dono.
now we'd like you to keep this pen as our gift, Pope Francis, as a reminder of these beautiful days.
Grazie, Papa Francesco. Grazie.
Thank you, Pope Francis.
Papa Francesco, grazie per tutto. Grazie mille.
Grazie, grazie, grazie.
No. E ora con questo fatto. E ora
Nice.
Before the sky turned gray, before my home was flooded, I had no right to say, but with everything I noticed was stronger than you. In the eye of the storm we gather, we find a way to make it through. Take us apart to come back together. We made it so far, we're gonna take it further. We gather together right now. We gather together right now. We gather together right now. In this very moment, I can't but think of you. I know that it ain't easy. We're all betting on the truth. Like heroes on the run, we gather every step a storm. And our home is not to be uncovered. We stand with what we have discovered. Take us apart, we come back together. We made it so far, we're gonna take it further. We gather together right now. We gather together right now. We gather together right now. We gather together right now.
Towns and the cities that will lift us straight. The hills, the forest, and the seaside bay for the ones who keep trying. Day by day, we the people of the world, we rise, we say, am I gonna make this right? Am I gonna hold on to my life? Will it find a way to win this fight? Message in the bottle is shining bright. Hey, take it for granted as if it was planned. Depleted the planet and stripped the land. It took us forever to reason out that, and it took us forever to figure this out. Now we can't run no more, this is coming our way. Soon there will be much around us to save, so you make up your mind and you see what you think, cause it's not one day, but we gather together. We gather together. It is not one day, but we gather together. All right, let's sing all together, everybody. We can't hear you, come on.
take me by the hand, show me the way I can go. Take me by the hand, show me.
Che abbiamo appena firmato.
And now with this pact that we've just signed together with Pope Francis as a tangible, concrete sign of our commitment, we conclude the Economy of Francesco 2022.
Posso dire che sono stati
We've had 3 fantastic days, an explosion of life that's matured and grown over these 3 years. But also, they've been a window that's wide open to the future. And so we declare the Economy of Francesco 2.0 is now open.
The sons and daughters of Francesco left for the world from this very place. The Portium con St. Mary of the Angels reminds us of this. We too see this departure as a new mission and a new mandate. We are ready to go home. We leave different from how we arrived, transformed by the shared experience, in love, and heralds of Francis's prophecy.
And we want to keep the joy, to cherish this joy and gratitude. And we're sure that Pope Francis, you'll continue to accompany our work. There's nothing more to say except goodbye until the next time, but we have in our hearts a desire for a new meeting with you and with all the young people who feel called by the economy of Francesco, perhaps here in Assisi again, to continue telling us about the miracles that happen around and within us. Count on us. Together with this pact, we want to express our commitment. You know that here you can write your commitments, and this is a vessel, it's a vase, it's a collective commitment that we make. So all together we fill this. I think we're at the end now of the economy of Francesco. We're so grateful for these moments we've lived together with Pope Francis. He's been here as we asked, as he promised to us in his letter of 2019. So thank you for all that's happened, all the hugs and the greetings we've shared with one another during this time. Now, let's take this energy that's in our hearts outside.
For God and for a new economy.
After this meeting here, in every journey, the first steps are the most important.
The first steps.
But we know that we are not alone. We are already walking. We are not at the beginning of this journey. We are already walking together. We are already the economy of Francesco.
And so many people told us, oh, look, economy of Francesco in these 3 years, many told us, oh, you are utopists, there is a utopia in what you do. And maybe they are right, because who were the utopists? Thank you. The utopists were people who were dissatisfied with the world, with the societies in which they lived within. Were people that were dissatisfied with manifested injustices. And they imagine imaginary societies, beautiful model of economy and cities in which they will be living then, in. And we, economy of Francesco people, do the same. But then, if I look to all of you, I see that we are not just utopia, because we are the already of the economy of Francesco. We are prophetic, right, Valentina?
We have just one lantern in our hands, but this lantern is enough. We are living in the night of the world. Many of you, many of us know this night. The night of war, of famine, destruction, climate change. But this light can be enough. A small light can be seen with great clarity during the night. 3 years ago, we set out, driven by Pope Francis' words, not knowing precisely what they would mean for us. Today, we have this pact to honor. Not knowing precisely what does it mean. Today, we have this pact. The journey will teach us how to honor that pact. The only thing we know is that we cannot stand still. But as economists, as change makers, as entrepreneurs, we all know that walking is not enough. We need to build roads.
And also, we cannot hesitate in taking our first step. And this applies to each of us individually, but also us as a community. Because now it's amazing, we are here, we feel the energy, the power, we have just met the Pope. But what happened next Monday, when we will be alone, cold in our workplaces, in our universities and societies? Is there that the economy of Francesco will be living? Is there in which we have to remember these 3 days, the people we met, the stories we heard, the faces, the pact with the Pope? That is what is important for economy of Francesco, and that is our future.
So please, stop, be seated, and say how good we are, how fantastic we are, and how we deserved the Pope embrace. We didn't deserve the Pope embrace, but that's why we need to go out and tell the people that there is something for any one of us. Our friends here are teaching this. We didn't deserve nothing, but by being outside, we can do something together. To be out there, to be among the territories, we need each and every one of you. Those who worked to organize this event will continue to put themselves at service of you guys, of you. 1,000 and more people in this audience. Yet, at this event has shown us the living in the DOF or EoF are you, are we together. EoF lives and will continue believing thanks to you. 1,000 and plus people living in their territories, in their hubs, in their institutions, in their universities. And these grains, which will grow and grow up fantastically, are called the villages, the hubs, and have your proper names. They are called with your names.
Indeed. And I think that we must agree that we received a lot in these days and these 3 years. Now we should ask ourselves, how much do we have left to give back to the community? So let's say goodbye with a promise. The promise is the following. We don't know where, but we know when we will be meeting together. It will be happening in 2 years from now. Again, we don't know where, so round of applause. Okay. And when we will meet, it will be very good to say again, as we did this time, finally. Thank you to everyone.
Ciao,
Bye.
Antonio e Francesco.
Bye.
Hey, walk with me. We're under the same sun with oceans all around. Yeah, it's not how it should be. Many hours fine for basic things in life. So let's bring energy in the IoT and water for our brothers. Now the time is here and the water is clear. We must take care of each other. This is a mission to Earth, where the astronauts we come to help back home. From the east to the west, this is a mission to Earth. We've come to help back home. ustawi, upendo, umoja, ustawi, upendo, umoja, ustawi, upendo, umoja, ustawi, upendo. With the astronauts, we've come to help back home. From the east to the west, this is a mission to Earth. We've come to help back home. Thank you very much. Safe travels, everybody.
He's leaving. He's going back. Please remember to leave your headphones here. Not here. Please remember to return your headphones. Remember to return the headphones. Thank you. Pala, pala. Gracias, gracias.
Esta canción me abre el corazón, me hace vibrar, me da ganas de vivir, de bailar y sonreír. Un día su luz me da alas libre, ahora soy con mi ritmo alegre.